At least 2 people have been killed on Ambrym Island in Vanuatu when it was hit by severe tropical Cyclone Lola last week. The deaths, a pregnant woman and elderly woman, were caused when one of the health clinics on Ambrym had been destroyed. Pentecost Island in Vanuatu was hit by the strongest winds, with the gusts getting close to 260 kilometres per hour. Locals are now left to pick up the pieces from the extensive damage. James Hinge, who's on the ground with Save the Children Vanuatu, speaks to Caleb Fotheringham about what it's like.
What I am seeing on ground is a massive damage in terms of the Category 5 cyclone, which slowly turns into a Cat 4, hitting Pentecost Island, which stayed here for 7 hours before moving to the Southern Islands. There were massive damage in terms of houses and as well as garden. I had a chance to be on a truck yesterday heading down to the northern side of the island, and it was just damaged, like massively damaged.
James, we've heard of 2 casualties. Have you heard of any deaths on Pentecost?
At the moment, I am in the central Pentecost 1 area, and I had the opportunity to move down to the northern side of the island, and not really down to the north, but just up the north. There are no deaths currently. Given the fact that internet connectivity is one of the biggest issues currently, I could not confirm any of the other areas, but from the CB1's Central Pentecost Area 1 and part of the northern island, there are no deaths.
And what are the main concerns for the locals right now?
Right now, the main concern of the locals is having a place to sleep or having a place for families to stay under while they are trying to get up their houses back on. Shelter is the number one priority, I can see, and this is the visibility of seeing all the houses damaged. And when I say damaged, it is down to the ground level. Nothing is up in the sense of any posts or covers or local touches. Nothing is up. So main concerns of the families now is shelters, and within 1 to 2 weeks' time, I am pretty sure their concerns will switch off from houses to food, given that all their gardens and crops are being damaged through the Category 5 heading to 4 cyclone.
Wow, that sounds really tough. They obviously have to stay somewhere though, so where are they staying at the moment?
I had a visit down to the northern side of the island, and what I see there was really touching and emotional. Currently, what they're trying their best to do is to remove some of the materials from their houses that is still okay, and they're currently just putting it together and at least having a place where they can shelter under. And as well as some of them are being housed by families whom, some of their houses are permanent houses and probably 1 or 2 roofs have been blown out by the cyclone, but it's still up and they're currently using that. One good thing about this island that I noticed is the communities, they're working together in the sense of trying to mobilize people to houses and safe centers. Not much safe centers were built within this island. As I've mentioned earlier, it's a rural area where most 75% of the people within this province live on that island, and therefore they're working together. They're mobilizing and trying their best to at least get people to safe zones or to safe houses to live and to look after each other while waiting for the government to respond.
You see the second priority, once they fix their shelter issue or the government comes in to assist the shelter, is food. How long will people have with their current food stocks? How long will that last them?
I can say probably just 1 week, given the condition of most of the crops in the garden, and most people within this island, they live on the root crops, and these root crops were damaged by the cyclone. And how long can this root crop last? From getting them out from the ground and probably cooking them and eating them, I'd say a week for them. After that, we definitely need immediate response from the government as well as the NGOs to work together on providing something on the ground to these people.
Is there a concern on the ground that food won't come in time?
We have currently National Disaster Management Office of the Vanuatu government has Red Cross and Save the Children on ground, and Red Cross is currently providing some rations. In terms of distributing, it hasn't started yet, given that we really want to ensure that everyone is being reached. So this is something that we are planning out today, and then probably start of distribution tomorrow. But in terms of food reaching out, as I've mentioned earlier, it would be an immediate need for the people of the island of Pentecost. and this is something that needs to be, to be reached out to the island at the soonest. They have that concerns of, food reaching out to them, given the fact of, the previous disasters at TC Harold that has damaged Pentecost, but that's something that they can definitely look into, given that some of the government support reliefs are already coming into the island.
What are people on Pentecost saying about this cyclone?
People from the island, a lot of them have quote, this is one of the cyclones that they've experienced that is the most devastating one, given the last one that they had was Cyclone Uma, way back in the 1970s. They've never had anything really that, that severe in the past, given that TC Harold has just flown over Pentecost, and most of the part of the island that was damaged was Central Pentecost. The current area that I am in is the Central Pentecost one and the northern part of the island, and this is one of the most frightening experience they have ever had. I had a couple of a family where they had to, the house was all blown out, and what they had to do is they had to just duck under beds. Their bed just to survive the cyclone within that seven hours that it flown across Pentecost Island, which they had been under the bed for the 7 hours with the house roofing and everything off, and their family just had their best trying to hold onto the beds and stay there until the cyclone passed the area. From the people in the community, it was one of the most frightening experience, and as well as one of the experience in which most of the children have mentioned that it will stay within their hearts for quite a while. Given that it's one of the experience that it's a first-hand experience that they've gone through.